talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Let's talk under the tree. Welcome to the show. Appreciate that you came. Mr. Palmer T. Smalls ain't a damn thing changed. We talking under the tree. Yeah, we got them hot topics from Carolina to Duval. That's how we rock it on prime time. Check out the podcast. It's online. Hit us up. We got a platform. You gon' shine. It was all a dream. We here now. Let me hear you say it loud. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree. We talking under the tree.
Hello, my friend. What it do?
What it do? What it do?
We have Miss Wanda on the Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast. She is here to tell her truth. How are you feeling today?
I feel great. How are you?
I'm good to go. I am glad that you have the courage to tell your story on the Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast. It takes a lot, to even think about doing something like this, and I do give you a lot of praise for that and a hand clap. And you do have a place at home, and you don't have to be nervous with me.
Right.
You was a little nervous, but backstage I kind of cheered you up a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
Right. What made you want to tell your story before we get into this thing?
I keep running across women that go through similar issues that I've went through. And they're afraid, just like I've always been, to even talk about it. And just bottle it up inside, and it comes out in a bunch of destructive ways. And
Right.
At some point, most of us just get tired of that.
I understand. Hold that thought. Excuse me. Hold that thought. You got me a little nervous now. We will be back in about 33 seconds with Miss Wanda. She is going to tell her story on the Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast with the weatherman. And I will be looking forward to talking to you, okay?
All right.
All right.
Kingpin Music.
Okay, we're back. You grew up in the South Carolina, just like I did, I'm sure, in pretty much a lot of ways. And I'm sure we grew up similar from that generation. Shut your mouth, don't say nothing, don't speak unless you're spoken to. And I'm sure when you left home, that was sort of instilled in you a little bit to a certain extent until I'm assuming until you decided to break out your shell, that it's okay to speak and it's okay to talk. Is that true?
Correct. It is.
Right. And in previous conversations, you said that. Let me ask you this first. Were you raised with both parents in your house?
For a portion of my life, I was, and then like at the age of about 12, my dad left. He went to New York. So he left my mom to raise us alone.
Okay. Did that affect you in any way?
Of course.
What empty void did you feel as a child, and maybe you could have carried that into your adulthood also?
I definitely have always felt alone. And to this day, I still do. At my age, I don't think that's ever going to change. It's just that I have to find a way to cope with that.
We were taught to go to church and confide in the pastors and I guess the older ladies, older women of the church and so forth, the deacons. Did you find yourself seeking counseling from them?
I honestly feel like God has always guided me to the right person, because whenever I couldn't just talk to anyone. It had to be a specific person in the church. And I really never really reached out to anyone secretly with everything that's in me until I became an adult and I chose my own church. That particular pastor I trust, and I feel that I can reach out to and tell anything to. He understands. But then also, when I joined the military, I sought therapy, and that helped me quite a bit. But up until then, it's been God and only God,
Before
definitely.
we get into your story, in the African American community, when we go seek help or counseling, are we trained from your experience from the area that me and you grew up in, from folks to make us think that we are crazy and something is wrong with us?
Exactly. Why you going to talk to somebody else? You ain't fool.
Yeah.
Where you going at? I can talk to you just like that person. They really don't get it. It's not that simple. Or what are you depressed about? It's not depressed. It's not a feeling. It's an illness. Being depressed is a feeling, but depression is an illness, and they do not get the difference between the two. So
Correct.
a lot of Black people, especially the older generation, think that you can spank whatever is wrong with them out of them. And that is not the case.
I was getting ready to ask you that. Yep,
Yes.
exactly.
I
You would
got
think.
plenty of ass whippings. Yes. Daily almost. Yes. And I'm still exactly the same way. I still talk back, which is not really talking back. It's just exclaiming when you didn't do it. You know how you couldn't say nothing. Just sit there and get your behind cut for something you probably didn't do or say because you can't talk back. I was never that child. I always spoke back.
Very rebellious.
Very belligerent, as they put it. That would be me.
Let's get into the trauma. You were confiding with me that at 12 years old, am I right?
Yes.
You were sexually molested,
Yes.
right?
It was a close relative, and he was 26 and I was 12. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I just, I didn't even know it was wrong. It's like if something feels good, keep doing it. So it just felt good. So I just allowed him to do it. And my mom never ever told me anything about sex. So I didn't have a clue at the age of 12. I didn't know anything except that there was a difference in boys and girls, period. And when I got molested is when she found out that someone was doing that to me because we grew up in a home with no running water. And when I used the restroom, I used it in front of her. So when she saw evidence of the abuse in my underwear and questioned me, I didn't even know where it came from.
Right.
So when she explained to me where it came from, then I told her who put it there. By the grace of God, he never penetrated me, but it was there. And it just, when she told my father, he was there at the time, that was before he left, just all I'm gonna say, I don't want to put anyone business out there to
Yeah,
humiliate or
right.
embarrass them,
Right.
but my dad just handled it in a manner that prevented him from going to jail for the sake of the family.
Right.
And then being my mom was after my dad left when I was 12. Well, let me start from the beginning. We were living next to his family in a nice home with the with plumbing and everything. And then he lost his job, and we were forced to move back to where my mom grew up. And then that's when that happened. It didn't happen where we moved to. It happened at his relatives, so no one was aware because it was at his mother, maternal grandma's house. So then when we moved over there where we were, then there was another relative molesting me. Once again, I'm still 12 now, knowing any better, not knowing what's going on with me. He's always there. Not only was my mom drinking, but he was helping her drink. But he would be pretending to be more drunk than he actually was. So when my mom dozes off to sleep, he's on me. I'm afraid to tell her. I'm afraid to tell anyone. I did try, or what I did is I slipped up and mentioned a part of his body that I saw. in front of the other children that I was playing with. So when she told the parent and everyone jumped down my throat, I recanted. Like, she doesn't know what I said. I didn't say him, I said so and so. So it was because the way they were acting, it terrified me. Like, I was so bad, I'm lying, and no, ain't no way, and da da da, you know? Nope, I'm shutting up. But what I can say that I gained from the whole thing is that I never allowed my girls to have sleepovers. Well, I allowed them to have sleepovers, but I didn't allow them to go to sleepovers because I don't know what man is in that home.
Right. By the grace of God, you didn't get pregnant.
That. Well, like I said, neither one of them penetrated me. Yeah, so my first actual consensual sexual encounter, it was no problem. You know, that happened. He was my first true love, and I later wound up marrying him. But in between that time, when we weren't together, another relative molested me.
So it's 3.
Yes, but this relative was only related to me through marriage.
Okay.
But he knew me since I was a child. So I never ever expected that. So of course I would jump in a car with him and go somewhere. So I had gotten put off the school bus and he saw me walking and gave me a ride home. It's broad freaking daylight. Obviously he must do this for a habit or something because he knew exactly where to take me when no one would see him and do what he did. And at that time, I was 16 or 17. I had only had sex once. So it felt like it was the first time all over again because it had been some months in between that time. And he assumed that I was sexually active at 17 so that he could do that to me and not have any evidence. But me having the fear that I had, I never told anyone, and he got away with it. And why I never told anyone as a 17-year-old, almost adult, is because my mom had always told me that was going to happen to me.
Say what?
My mother told me that that was going to happen to me.
That's sad.
She spoke that over my life. She said I was bad. Yes, I had behavior issues, which because I got no attention at home. No one gave a damn about Wanta. I was the middle child. I was not there unless she wanted to beat someone. Then I was there. So I just kept it to myself because you said that. I'm always in the streets. I like to go to clubs and party, hang out with the older girls because they got in the club. So I went to the clubs with them. And since I was always in the clubs, because of course I want to get away from her, when
Right.
I stay, I'm at home and a guy comes over to visit, she comes out of her bedroom drunk, telling them that, oh, what do you see in her? She's lazy. She's out all night, sleep all day. She can't cook. She can't this. She can't that. So why would I bring anyone else to the house for you to do that to me every single time?
Yeah, tearing you down with low self-esteem.
Oh my God! But no one sees that in me because my sense of humor is my coping mechanism. I was always angry and fighting in my youth, so I turned it around. And instead of getting angry, I'll make a joke. If I don't make a joke or see some humor in my situation, my temper is out of this world. That's why I continuously tell people don't keep pushing that same button because I have zero patience, but I work at it. It takes a real struggle for me to hold it down. It does. And anything dealing with sex trafficking or children, it sets me off quick because I know what I went through. My grandmother raised me in church. I went every single Sunday. She kept me dressed. I always had welcome addresses and speeches, and because I was loud and didn't need a mic, because they didn't have them back then, and I didn't need it. So I, God was always, at the head of my life. He was always God for me to rely on. No one else was there to this very day.
You remind me of a lot of females that take off the mask and just start laughing and laugh it off.
Yes, definitely. That's the
Yeah.
best thing for me.
And
That's
that's
the
how you
best
cope.
thing.
And that's how you cope with it.
I have to. If I didn't, I'd be crying all the time. I don't like people, I don't want people's sympathy. You know, that's another reason I never told anyone this story because I don't want you to feel sorry for me. But I'm telling you because be aware of the signs for one, women. I don't care what relation he is to you and your child. He is a man at the end of the day. You don't know what unnatural urges are in his mind. You just really don't know. I mean, this has happened to me my entire life. I'm not some beauty queen that every man should want. I was a little tomboy. So what the heck did they want from me? They never ever bothered my sister. Never. But I protected her, especially from the ones I know done it. But
Amen.
what I'm explaining to you is these men were my dad's friends. They they damn near changed my diaper if they hadn't actually changed my diaper, and they tried me. Every last one of them. Not the real old ones now,
Right,
but
right.
and
Yeah,
not the funky ones, not the ones that smell like mothballs, stuff
right.
like that. I want let me recant that. Not all, but a lot of them have
Most
tried.
female most females who went through the trauma that you endured, they usually turn out to be alcoholics, drug addicts,
Yes.
and lesbians.
And I started out with the alcohol. That was definitely my coping mechanism. I stayed drunk. But I also realized that I didn't want to wind up like my mother, and I didn't want to treat my child the way she treated me. So after the military, I just decided and I prayed on it real hard and I just lost the taste for alcohol. And I mean, I prayed on it really, really hard. I also smoked for 19 years and I prayed really hard on that. And when my mom developed lung cancer, I I quit to try to get her to quit with me. But she did because she smoked 3 packs a day. So she continued to smoke, but I stopped and I never picked them back up. But that was what I did. I turned to alcohol. As far as lesbianism, I I can say that's sort of kind of why I date women now. Because for one, I honestly feel like I just can't trust a man. I will never in my entire existence trust a man. I can deal with, cope with, and hang with men. But as far as trusting them and giving them my heart, I don't foresee that happening. But I won't say never because I don't know the plan that God may have for me. And I'm not objecting to anything. So whatever God's plan is for me, I accept. But at this point, I don't foresee it happening. I just don't trust them because every man I have given my trust to, not every, not use infinites, but most of the men that I have trusted have used their penises as weapons. And I detest that because even if the man, because I was married to a man twice, if you get angry with me and you use your penis somewhere else, then how in the world is that love? Because if I'm angry with you, I won't do that. And there is nothing on this planet that would make me cheat on someone that I'm with. I have never and I never will. So I just can't understand why someone else. I know that my sexual trauma has a lot to do with it. I take anything dealing with sex very seriously. And when I'm being with a female, I don't think of the sex. It's just that I prefer a person that's going to be gentle with me. And most men don't know how to do that or don't care to.
I understand. I'm going to spin off on something that
Okay.
you said earlier, I guess, when you told your mom. I interviewed a veteran. Her name is Michelle. I don't think she, would mind me saying her name. She was molested also. I'm assuming she might have been 9. And she told her grandmother raised her, that she was molested. And guess what her grandmother said?
What? What did you do?
Nope. She said, you must have liked it because you waited so long to tell me.
See, but guess what? My grandmother thinks like that too. And I'm at the age where I would never be angry at her for it because she has been like that her whole life. And it's the way that she was raised that makes her think like that. She honestly does not know any better. Because let me tell you, my mom used to beat me every day but damn near nothing. Yes, I talked back because you're sitting there talking about me, especially when other drunks were around. She
Right.
want to talk about Wanda. And I'm like, why is she doing this? It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. And no sooner than I try to defend myself, that's a behind thing. I knew better, but I didn't do better. I still kept defending myself. But long story short, some years after my mother was gone, maybe 15 years after my mother died, like she died in 2003, and my grandmother said to me, "Girl, Edie Show used to beat you up." I looked at her. I said, "Grandmama, you knew?" She said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Well, why didn't you stop her?" She said, "That ain't been none of my business." I said, "Oh my God." Right then, 50 hell ran through me. She knew the entire time I was getting my ass whipped daily, and she did nothing about it, said nothing about it. And immediately God put it on my heart. That woman don't know no better. Why are you angry with her?
Yep.
And I wasn't mad no more. And I love my grandmother to death. And when she said jump, I jumped. She's 97. I'm blessed to still have her. My
Amen.
mother's been my mother's been gone over 20 years. And she got a mind just as sharp. She's smarter than she remembers things far better than I do.
That's a blessing. With all that you have been through, have you ever found yourself, say, putting on your clothes in the mirror and you really couldn't look at yourself because you downgraded your beauty, that you weren't pretty or beautiful, anything like that?
No, I've always felt like that. I've never felt pretty. I've never felt beautiful. I just felt average. I've never felt ugly, but I just felt average. So when someone tells me I'm beautiful, I have a beautiful smile, I honestly take that to heart because I never felt like that. When people think, oh, you this and you that, I said, with my low self esteem, they said, you don't have no low self esteem. I said, oh my God. People say, you look so rough and you look mean. I really, really wish. Don't you know, I joined the military so that I could be tougher and came out softer. Because that's when I gave my life to Christ in the military.
Because
It's awesome.
a lot of people who've been through, things like that, they also turn suicidal. Have you ever experienced a suicidal moment?
Oh, of course. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. I attempted to take my life when I was living in New York with my dad, actually. I took a lot of pills and they made me drink this nasty chalky crap called Epicap and throw it all back up. Surely did. And that's because he whipped my behind for something I didn't do, just based on the word of somebody else. So see what I'm saying? Didn't near one of my parents give a damn about me, but who took care of both of them till the day they left this planet?
That's how it
Wanda.
always happens, don't it?
Wanda.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
how it
am I
always.
angry? No, I'm just stressing it. If whoever can hear this, watch how you treat your children, please, because most of them aren't nearly as forgiving, and you're not going to have anyone to rely on when you get old but your children. Yes.
Yes.
And by that same token, young ladies, stop leaving your children with just anyone because you don't know. You swear you know that man. You don't know nobody really. You don't know. I know women who molest children. So you really can't trust anyone with your children, even the daycare screwing up. So just be mindful. I understand that you have to work and have to leave them with someone, but just be real selective because the reason that you're working, isn't it really to take care of that child? I've had people say, oh, and I'll kill him too. Okay. First of all, you're going to jail. Secondly, the damage is already done. It's going to affect that child for the remainder of their life. I can't stress that enough because it still bothers me to this very day. I try to put it completely out of my mind. I can't stress enough how many times this has happened to me. I first started to trust someone after being raped by a relative, after my first time with my boyfriend, then my second time was being raped by a relative. I was raped again by a man that I trusted, that I liked. And he took me to a little carnival. And all of a sudden, he's oh so tired. He can't drive all the way back home. Just crash at this motel right here. I won't do anything to you. And I mean, I knew him for years because we lived in the same area. So I didn't expect that. So let's just chill. Even I got a room with 2 beds. I'm not gonna touch you. He goes over there, lays across the bed, goes to sleep. I'm sitting up watching TV for a little while. Okay, he's sleeping now. I get tired. I fall asleep. Next thing I know, when I open my eyes, he was on me. Musty as hell, too. Just stinking. And I got that scent buried in my nose to this very day. That's how horrible it was. Just
Wow.
some things, just like childbirth, no woman will ever forget childbirth, no matter how old she gets. I will never forget that. Ever. That smell. I would never.
A
I would
quiet
never
kept,
forget.
excuse me, a quiet kept secret is little boys being molested by women,
Yes.
but they keep that part
Oh,
quiet.
yes, definitely. Because they don't
Everybody
want to.
thinks it's females. No, no, no.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's
Yeah,
males get molested, and of course, the males get molested by males, but they get molested by females too. It's horrible. It's just so horrible. The sexual deviance out here is, and you just don't know. The people that we've attended school with that like little girls, stuff like that. It
yes,
shocks you who they are. When you find out,
yes.
you just never know.
I interviewed a young man. I think he's around 44 now, but when he was about 8 years old, he was having sex with his grandmother.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
And he said something that you said you kind of liked it. He said he found himself liking sex
felt
at
good.
8 years old. You know,
Right? You didn't
because
know any better.
he's a child. He didn't know any better. And I'm assuming 43, 44, 45, something like that. And to this day, just like you said, it affects him.
Yes,
And,
it's
and
it's the
he's the,
spirit.
and he's the outcast of his family right now.
See, that's why I didn't ever say anything. They will when like I said, I made the mistake, and the way they acted, everyone was gonna hate me, and I was already not getting any attention. So
Right.
what little family members that I had that gave me the time of day, I wanted to hold on to that. At this age, who cares? I don't even live in the same town anymore. People need to know this. But I'm gonna be so decent as to not call you out. You are disgusting. One of them died. My therapist told me that if I did not forgive that person, that person would continuously hold power over me. And I vehemently denied it and argued with her tooth and nail. He held no power over me. I just didn't want anything to do with him ever again, and didn't want anything to do with the average man. So I do fault him for my feelings toward men. I definitely do. But he don't hold, if that's the power he holds, then that's about it. But I felt like an albatross was removed from my shoulders when he passed away,
Mhm.
because I'm more than certain I'm not the only woman he done this to. I have another relative that he tried to rape, but the way she was describing the story, he did it. She just not going to admit it. See what I'm saying? It's hard to admit that happened to you. Afterward, I tried to wash the skin off of my body. I went in the shower, and what I now know was destroying evidence. I didn't care. I just wanted to be clean. I wanted to be felt clean again. Clean again. It's a horrible, horrible feeling.
What
If
do you
you're
do? Oh, excuse me. Go ahead. I cut you off.
if you're pleading with this person, you know what I'm saying? You're hurting me. Please don't do this. Please stop. What kind of heart do you have? I'm a child. I just don't understand.
Right. How do you cope with your everyday, say day to day life? From the time you wake up, do you pour it into your grandkids to try
Oh
to
my God, yes.
forget the
I,
past? What do you do? Some
I
people smoke um, casual marijuana. I don't know if you do that, but hey,
I have an elf pen. That's good enough. It's a THC pen, so it got some whatever in it, but it makes me happy. I'm happy. I'm happy anyway, and it helps my pain. And of course, I have issues sleeping, so it helps me sleep. But no, I don't do. I don't like drugs. I don't like anything that changes my character. I really don't. I have a natural high, so I don't need anything.
what advice could you give man, women, kids in the universe about
Be
this situation?
selective.
Right.
Be selective, very selective who you have your children around. Be selective who you hang around, because you don't know what their tendencies are and what they may have taught their children or what their children have seen. Be careful who you know, who your children, other children that your children associate with, because you don't know what those other children have experienced and or seen. That really sticks in my mind. I always at first blame God because why did you allow this to happen to me? And I go to church every Sunday and I try to do everything you tell me to. But now, don't ask God why. Ask Him, what is it that you're trying to show me? But now I mentor other people that have some of the issues. And I hope every woman that's went through this can hear this and know that you're not alone. And it gets worse, but there's not enough time on this broadcast for the weatherman to
Oh, we got
to let
time.
me tell you.
Oh, we
But
got time.
it's just so many instances. I served in the military, and where was I stationed for AIT? Yeah, Aberdeen Proving Grounds. What is you trying to tell me, Lord? Ain't nothing but sexual harassment out there. But I guess it's because I was prepared once I got there and knew what the reputation was. I made sure this face was very stern and unapproachable. And don't think they didn't try, but I wasn't having it. And I will tell. I don't care if I'm a snitch. I'm telling. I'm not going to be silent no more. That's why these guys on Facebook come in my inbox and you're married. You were forewarned. I really did tell you repeatedly. I was not joking. I will tell your wife. I don't like any type of infidelity or sexual immorality. Call me immoral because I'm a lesbian or you think I'm a lesbian because still they guys.
Right, right.
But something that's forced upon someone or just nasty to me, I ain't with it.
The last thing I had for you to comment on is this right here. What advice would you give? Some fathers are single fathers, some mothers are single mothers, single parents, or what have you, and their kids confront them in regards to being molested, and the parents don't believe them.
Oh
And
God,
they will actually choose their husband or spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend over the kids. Elaborate on that, and we'll close it out.
that's sad. That's all I can say. It's sad because I've also like the reason I have met a lot of children that have went through I used to drive school bus.
Right.
But even now that and I also did foster care, but even now that I don't do either, I don't know if I'm in the grocery store, Walmart, or anywhere, people just reach out to me like that or on Facebook. So I mentor these people. I don't know if God's sending them to me, what have you, but I'm blessed to be able to help someone else.
That's good. Because from what I was hearing, a lot of parents, they take the side with the spouse, girlfriend, or whatever over the kids.
And that's one of the kids mentioned that to me recently. That not only did they take the side, they blamed the kid.
Right.
Wow. I know all I can say, weatherman, is it's a mental issue with the parent. Because what happened in that parent's life that makes you neglect your child to choose the mate? See,
Yes.
that has to be a repeated cycle. That's why I made it a point to break the generational curse that was within my family and do differently with my child for all the good it done me. But I raised my niece and I made an impact on all the foster children that I've raised and my nieces and nephews. I made it. I see where I've done some good. I have a 33-year-old foster child living with me right now with her child. She calls me mom. Her child calls me grandma. So I know I'm making a difference, and that's what matters to me, making a difference. I cannot stand the idea of this happening to anyone else. It hurts my heart.
I am so proud of you for coming on here and sharing your life experiences and your story. And you actually took off the mask, and I really appreciate it.
And I actually am relieved. I mean a sense of calm. Oh my God. I'm serious. A sense of calm just came over me after telling you all of this.
Right.
This is oh my God. Thank you.
But guess what? I know it's a part 2 and a part 3. I already know that already.
Wow. Must be a prophet, son. Proud of
Right.
you too. Because boy, I just can't even put into words what I'm feeling right now.
That's okay. It's all good. It's not how you start, it's how you finish on a lot of cases in life. Don't let nobody judge you. You got me?
Amen.
We only have one judge, and that's up above. You already know that
Amen.
already.
Amen. Amen.
Right. Like T. Smalls used to say to co host, "Who is you?" don't think I
Who
said
is
that
you?
right. Who is you? Yeah,
You can't get it high like him.
can't get high like him, right? Don't worry about what people say and all that right there. Who gives a damn? Man, I mean, who cares?
That's true.
Everybody has a story. Some tell it
Exactly.
now,
And
some
that's
tell it
another
now,
thing.
some
People
tell it
do it for sympathy. If
right,
they're quick to tell the story,
right,
I believe a lot of it ain't true. Because
right.
ain't nobody going to tell you their true story. And it's not easy. It's just not the truth.
It ain't easy.
It's not.
I'm working on a documentary called Taking Off the Mask. It's going to be on Tubi probably January
Oh, what else do you?
2025. And when I interviewed one lady about the situation that you went through, everyone came out the woodworks.
Right. That's, yeah, somebody has to give them that courage.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
And it's sad. It's sad. The amount of people that go through this and are silent. And they're silenced. And of course, most men make threats. Threats never affected me. I'm thinking
That's right.
about the reaction that I'm going to get from everyone else. But it makes me super protective of children. That's for sure. You got to be
That's
very
okay.
careful.
You're moving forward. It's all about moving forward. And I'm going to say a
Yes.
little prayer for you. Lord, please bless Wanda and everything that she does and let her keep moving on and getting stronger
Amen.
to cope with her past. It ain't easy. Like she said, it stays around every day, but she's
Can
going to
you
get better and
imagine
better
though?
every day.
From 12 to 56, I've never told anyone my story.
Well, I feel honored. Thank you, ma'am.
It took me
Appreciate
this many years. I
it.
was trying to write a book, but I couldn't even focus to get the book even started.
I have somebody to help you write a book. It's probably going to only cost real talk $50. You'll be surprised.
I'm not even concerned with the cost. It's the memory. Like
Right.
it comes back to me in spurts. Because I
Hmm.
do have PTSD and I have complex depression. That's what this life has cost me. Now that, and I got a handful of medication though. I take them. I take my meds.
I have a title for your book that you could call it. You can play around with it. The title could be called "Open and Shut."
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yes.
It started out rough, but it ended beautifully. And I have
I'm
never once lost faith in God. He's been there every step of the way, even when I didn't realize it.
right.
Every
I'm
step
the
of the
weather.
way.
I'm the weatherman. Thanks, Miss Wanda, and thanks everyone for tuning in to the Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast. You can always subscribe on YouTube and things like that. And always remember, in closing, one time for your mind, two times for your soul. Miss Wanda and
Thank
the
you,
weatherman.
Weatherman.
We
Thank you
gone.
for having me.